Hey everybody, what we're discussing this week is Simonson's Equivalency Theory and how that theory could affect either universities or K through 12 schools, affect how they handle development, implementation, and management of distance learning programs. I'll start out by talking about what Simonson's Equivalency Theory is. Boiled down in a nutshell, the equivalency theory states that if you have equivalent learning experiences, they should yield equivalent outcomes. That has two different parts to it. Basically, equivalency and learning experiences are the two key parts of the theory. And our textbook talks about what those are. Equivalency or equivalent just means equal, but it doesn't mean identical. An equivalent learning experience doesn't have to be an identical learning experience. What face-to-face instruction is doing in the classroom doesn't have to be exactly the same as what's happening through a distance education class. It just has to be equivalent or equal. The other part of that is learning experience. Our textbook again talks about on page 53 how a learning experience is anything that is seen, felt, heard, or done that promotes learning. So basically anything that has anything to do with learning is going to be a learning experience. So that's what the equivalency theory is. Let's talk about how it can affect universities and how they manage their distance learning programs. The way it affects them is that educators should not just take traditional courses and convert them directly into distance education courses as we originally thought we should do. It's going to cause problems in a distance education environment because you're going to have different mediums at your disposal. A solution to that would be to develop completely different courses for distance learning that you had for traditional face-to-face courses. One way to do that is to use different developers. Maybe the developers for the online courses will be different than the face-to-face courses, so they can be completely separate. And we're going to have to be really, really selective when we're picking teaching strategies as educators to pick the things that are most effective for our learners. There can be teaching strategies that work really well in the classroom, but they don't work so well during distance education lessons, so we need to pick the ones that we know are going to be effective during distance education. If we want to try something new, that's great, but we have to put in the work to actually test these things to find out if they work. So we have to be really, really selective in how we pick the teaching strategies that are going to be used in distance learning classes. So that's how Simonson's theory affects distance learning. Hope you enjoyed it and have a good week.